Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Raquel Martinez, and I chose to do my presentation on Mother Mary Harris Jones. Mother Mary Harris Jones was born May 1st, 1837, in Cork, Ireland. Jones migrated to Canada with her family at the age of 5. This was in the middle of the Irish potato famine. Later in life, she ended up moving to America, where she worked as a teacher at a Catholic school in Michigan, and then ended up moving to Chicago to be a seamstress. Then she ended up moving to Memphis for another teaching job where she met her husband and they had 4 kids. Unfortunately, her entire family ended up passing away due to the yellow fever pandemic. And after that tragedy, Jones moved back to Chicago to be a seamstress and opened a dress shop, but unfortunately lost everything in the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. After all of her losses, she found comfort attending Knights of Labor meetings in 1877, and Jones began focusing on the increasing numbers of working poor during the industrialization era. Jones truly displayed her organizing abilities in Pittsburgh during the Great Railroad Strike of 1877, and she led hundreds of strikes. She then gained the name Mother Jones from the workers she organized because of the way she cared for them. And she ended up publishing The New Right in 1899 and a 2-volume of Letter of Love and Labor in the 1900s and 1901. Later in life, in 1901, workers in Pennsylvania's silk mills went on strike, and Mother Jones was brought to encourage unity among the striking workers. She encouraged the wives of the workers to organize into a group that would wield brooms and beat on tin pans and shout, "Join the Union." She believed that the wives had an important role to play as the nurturers and motivators of the striking men. She claimed that the young girls working in the mills were being robbed and demoralized, and the rich were denying these children the right to go to school in order to be able to pay for their own children's college tuitions. In 1903, Jones organized children who were working in the mills and mines to participate in a children's crusade, a march from Kensington, Philadelphia to Oyster Bay, New York, with banners stating, "We want to go to school and not the mines." During the Paint Creek Cabin Creek strike of 1912 in West Virginia, Mary Jones arrived and spoke and organized, disregarding the shooting war that had been going on between the United Mine Workers and members of the private army of the mine workers. Jones was arrested on the 13th of February in 1913 and brought before a military court accused of conspiring to commit murder, and she refused to recognize the legitimacy of the court martial. She was sentenced to 20 years in state penitentiary. After 85 days of confinement, she was eventually released. Several months later, she helped organize coal miners in Colorado in the 1913-1914 strike against the Rockefeller-owned Colorado Fuel and Iron Company. And then once again, she was arrested, serving time in prison and inside the San Rafael Hospital. Death and legacy. In her 80s, Mother Jones decided that she was going to settle down, not before doing her final appearance. In 1924, despite her weakened state, she made her last appearance at a strike in Chicago in support of striking dressmakers. During that strike, hundreds were arrested and blacklisted during their ill-fated 4-month-long struggle. In 1925, she published her autobiography of Mother Jones. She helped coordinate major strikes and co-founded the Industrial Workers of the World, and she died in Silver Spring, Maryland in 1930 and was buried in the Union Miners Cemetery in Mount Olive, Illinois. Other points that I wanted to shine some light on was that despite her radicalism, Jones did not support women's suffrage or abolitionists, arguing that You don't need a boat to raise hell. And she pointed out that the women of Colorado had the vote and failed to use it to prevent the appalling conditions that led to labor violence. And she also considered suffragists unwitting dupes of class warfare. Jones argued that suffragists were naive women, unwittingly acted as duplicitous agents of class warfare. That was my presentation on Mother Mary Harris Jones. Thank you.